Hey guys, so I want to talk a little bit about recording food intake. If you decide you want to do that, I think it is an awesome thing to do. Not like for the rest of your life, but for 12 weeks it'd be good if you could do that. If not, even for a few weeks it'd be good. It does help keep you accountable, I feel, and it does, I think, make you choose healthier things when you know you have to write them down and you know that I'm going to see them. Every Monday you'll see there'll be a place, so you'll see next Monday a place for you to upload a picture of the week one, of your food intake for week one. So you can just screen, there's a little place, you just click, hit the photo, take a picture of week one, and it will upload right to the app. Some people that use MyFitnessPal, they just take screenshots of their daily totals, and then just send them to me. So if you want to send them to me that way, you can. Or if you just want to send them to me, like in your, like through, like there's a way you can message me in the True Coach app. So you could send me like a daily screenshot if you want of your, if that's just easier to do it each day than at the end of the week. So I've sent the blank template by email. So if you haven't got it, check your spam or junk folder. It's just a blank sheet. You can just jot in kind of what you write, what you eat, and take a picture, and it's pretty straightforward. You'll just see where it says breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, supper, snack, like if you eat. Obviously you don't have to eat that many times a day just because there's that many squares. It's just made that way so if you do. If you run out of room, a lot of people write on the bottom, they write on the back, so take a picture of the back too. If you have any questions, I hope you have questions about certain things, let me know. Other than that, I will give you some feedback though when you do actually send that to me. So just giving you a high five or give you some tips or whatever. And other than that, and also if you want to use True Coach instead, not True Coach, MyFitnessPal is an app, I would say the most common app that people use. If you don't want to write stuff down, you'd rather use that instead. In your nutritional info that I've sent you, you'll see that on it, and if you have trouble finding it, it's there, but I can help you. Let me know if you have trouble. It actually does tell you your macros and your calories that you're consuming. So how many grams of protein, carbs, fat that you're having. You would need to input that into MyFitnessPal if you are using it. Yeah. The other thing I want to tell you, on that documentation that I sent you, it'll say a certain amount of protein, fats, carbs, veggies. Also in those papers, it tells you about the serving, what a serving is, and we get into more of that like next week when we talk about protein. A serving of protein is like my palm, like that's one serving, right? That's just giving you an idea. But if you're having like eggs, obviously it's not a palm, it'd be 2 to 3 eggs. That would be what a serving would be. And we'll get into that more then. Know that if by chance, like I've given you a certain amount of protein, but the fats and the carbs are two macros that I can really interchange. Some people like to eat higher carb, lower fat. Some people feel better eating higher fat, lower carb. I feel a lot of women that like once you kind of hit 30 and you're kind of going up, I feel that most feel better at eating protein and a little bit higher fat, a little bit lower carb. I don't mean low carb, I don't mean like super low carb, I mean just like lower, right? So I can adjust that in your sheets that I sent you, okay? But know that you can just change it like in your head on those days. So some days you might have like 6 servings of protein, 3 to 4 veggies, it might say 3 carbs and 7 fats, okay? If you don't want 7 fats and you want 6, and you want 1 more carb, so I want 4 carbs instead of 3, you can do that. So I can kind of play with my carbs and my fats by giving and taking, because they're pretty equivalent of them being about 100 to 150 calories each, okay? So if I take one of my fats away and give it to a carb, that's okay, okay? I think that's all. I think that's kind of how I wanted to say it. Yeah. Okay. So you can do that if you want, but if you feel like that what you've got, like I've kind of made it how I think is good for you, for what, after talking to you. But if you feel like, no, I need more carbs, you go for it, okay? Have another carb, take one of your fats away, okay? So roughly one of those units that you see is about 100 calories, okay? Roughly, 100 to 150 calories, somewhere in there, okay? So even if and then that will be helpful for when you're not sure of something. Maybe you're eating like, I don't know, like a bagel, and you're like, what does this count as? Well, if the bagel's like 180 calories, and you know that the carbs are about 100 to 150 each, I would probably count that as 1.5 servings of carbs, right? Like I would count that. So with your fats, they're all about 100, 150 calories. So I would be looking at 100 calorie things. So if I'm having some nuts, they say like on the sheets about a thumb of nuts. Well, some people like lay out their thumb and they're like, how many nuts is that? Well, you can also look at the bag and like what's about 100 calories, right? So once you kind of figure it out once, then it's easy. A tablespoon of oil, like a tablespoon of coconut oil, a tablespoon of MCT oil, avocado oil, they're all about the same. So they're all just like a serving, okay? So we'll get into that more when it actually is time to like talk about fats. But right now, in the meantime, right now, we're just kind of focused on this habit week 1. But I do want to talk a little bit about more of that before the fats, just because I want you to start implementing some of these before we actually focus on that habit. But you've got all that on papers anyway, so feel free to read through some of that stuff that's going to talk all about the fats, all about your smart carbs, all about the protein, and then what a serving is. And they just like using our hands as things rather than having to weigh everything out all the time, even though I don't see that as a bad thing sometimes, just to kind of get a real idea of how many grams that is about, you know? So that's why I kind of like that, okay? So if you have any questions, let me know. If you feel kind of really lost at all, let me know. If I haven't given you enough information, I really want this to be really doable and just something that you can just stick with and this isn't hard. We just want to really focus on adding things, you guys, and there's no restriction. There's nothing that you can't have, okay? We just want to like focus on adding more and more good. Like add more protein, let's add more fats, let's add more exercise, let's add some walks, let's add water, let's add veggies, let's just keep adding all this good stuff until that stuff becomes more of a habit and you feel good, and then you feel crappy when you stop, okay? So anyway, okay guys, I think that's it. Okay, if you have any questions, let me know. Okay, bye.